Disney World is massive. We are talking size of San Francisco massive, okay? So no matter how many times you've been to Disney World, no matter how familiar you are with the parks, we would bet there are some hidden gems and secrets you haven't seen before. So we are breaking down the best things in Disney World you've never seen. First off, we are starting with a never-ending prank over in Hollywood Studios. If you didn't know, there is actually a jar of pickled sausages. Not joking. Some actually say that they're pickled eggs. We've read that they're pickled sausages tucked away inside the Tower of Terror. You're gonna spot it behind the photo pickup area as you exit the ride. I actually worked there and always saw them constantly and never paid attention if they were eggs or sausages. I'm gonna have to go back and really check that out. I literally worked at that counter. The story goes that Disney Imagineering just liked to play little pranks on each other during the ride's development while it was being built. One of their favorite tricks was hiding things and jumping out and holding jars of pickled sausages to give each other like a little bit of a scare. Eventually, one was left behind, it got glued in place, and now it lives forever in the Tower of Terror. Because what isn't scarier than a jar of pickled sausages that's been there since the 90s? Next up, you might not know that there is a storyline and tie that connects almost every single Disney park. And if you've been around for a while, you may have actually already heard me talk about it because I am obsessed with it. I'm so fascinated by this. So if you are a Disney Parks fan, you may have stumbled onto a reference or a few references throughout the different parks. The Society of Explorers and Adventurers, or the SEA, the C, okay? If you didn't know, this is like a fictional organization of adventurers and explorers that kind of tie all of the different rides and attractions and lands together throughout different Disney parks. It's not just Disney World, it's not just Disneyland, it is like almost all of the Disney parks. It's not just one backstory either. It is multiple backstories. It ties in restaurants, it ties in attractions, it ties in lands. It is so incredible. I literally could make an entire video about this. I am obsessed with it. I wish someone would just write a book, and if there is one, I've actually asked this before, if there is one, please let me know. But it's all about, I want to just know all about the entire connection and the lore and the history of the SEA, because it's like a really mysterious organization that you just see pop up, and it's one of those if you know, you know things. One example in Disneyland is the Jungle Cruise. So Jungle Cruise, it's iconic, of course. There's the skippers, animatronics, elephants with their trunks on. What you don't know is that this ride is kind of centered around a character called Dr. Albert Falls. He's a renowned explorer and a member of the SEA. He created the Jungle Navigation Company to improve transportation, shipping of goods, all that good jazz for the other members of the organization. He wanted to like streamline all of those things for himself and the other members. So after he mysteriously disappeared, clock it, he mysteriously disappeared, his granddaughter Alberta took over things, and she kind of reimagined the Jungle Cruise expedition for tourists, which is what we now know today as the Jungle Cruise attraction. That's what we go on. Also in Disney World is Typhoon Lagoon. Typhoon Lagoon even ties into the SEA. The backstory to this one is Captain Mary was a treasure hunting explorer. She sailed the seas with her parrot Duncan, and they collected rare artifacts throughout the world. She was a proud member of the SEA, which, as you should be, everyone should be. I think this is so stinking cool. She believed that adventure belonged to everyone, not just the elite, which her ship was said to have washed ashore during the freak typhoon that created the water park, stranding her and her extensive collection of artifacts. You're actually gonna find her artifacts, you're gonna find nods to her and nods to the SEA within Misadventure Falls, which is the family raft ride in the park. There's also a connection over in Disney Springs, which I think is crazy. Jock Lindsey's Hangar Bar is also within the SEA. According to the lore, Jock Lindsey, who is Indiana Jones' pilot, fun fact if you didn't know, it technically is an Indiana Jones themed bar. He is canonically tied to the SEA as well. He was inducted into the society after several of his daring explorations, which is very cool. And if you look around the bar, you're actually gonna find different artifacts, maps, treasures, and letters kind of linking him to the SEA, including Mary Oceaneer and Barnabas T. Bullion, who is connected to Big Thunder, and Lord Henry Mystic, which is connected to Mystic Manor, over in Hong Kong Disneyland. Now this one is for big Disney Parks fans, especially if you're into Imagineers, and specifically knowing each Imagineer by name. One of the most famous is Joe Rohde, and there are nods to Joe Rohde all over Animal Kingdom if you know where to look. So if you don't know, Disney Imagineers love to kind of help pay tribute to those who helped build the lands or the attractions or whatever projects they were working on throughout the designs. And Joe Rohde is oftentimes kind of connected to the entirety of Animal Kingdom, being one of the lead Imagineers on that project. He is involved in so many different aspects of it, and he's also involved in a lot of the expansion plans like over on Pandora. So because of that, Joe Rohde is like sprinkled all throughout Animal Kingdom if you know where to look. One of those places is when you exit Flight of Passage. If you look closely at the cement walls as you're leaving, you're actually gonna see his whole handprint. He actually got to do that with his initials below it, along with James Cameron, who is the director and creator of the Avatar films, and John Landau, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. All three of their handprints and initials are actually located on the ride because all three of those men had something to do with the creation of Avatar and the world of Pandora, the storyline, and the things in the park. So that's really cool if you want to just like put your hand where Joe Rohde put his hand. You can do that. Another one is if you actually go to Pongu Pongo, also in Pandora, and you kind of look up as you're ordering, you're gonna see a lot of little dog tags, and it's actually photos of the Imagineers and people who helped create the land. Joe Rohde is in there. Those are not his only tributes. He's not just in Pandora. If you actually head outside of Harambe Market, there are going to be 2 posters there. The first is kind of an advertisement, masks and beads, you know, just a normal ad. But the Girardi company is who made them, and if you say it slow, it kind of sounds like Joe Rohde. So that's like a little nice nod to him. The other poster, in addition to this one, is a poster for Captain Bob's, and has a graphic of a man who is supposed to have said looks like Joe Rohde. So lots of nods to him. He actually doesn't just have nods to him in Animal Kingdom, he has nods to him in different Disney parks like Tokyo Disney Sea, but we're just talking about Disney World Hidden Gems right now. So thank you, Joe Rohde, for everything you do. We're obsessed with you. Our next hidden gem takes us over to Toy Story Land because there's a little bit of a nod that you can find throughout all of the Pixar movies that you're also going to be able to find in Toy Story Land. So this one is for the big Pixar fans, those Eagle Eye viewers. The secret code A113 can be found in tons of different Pixar movies, from Toy Story to Cars to Finding Nemo. If you know, you know. A really fun thing about this is it's not just some random code. It is actually a really specific classroom number. It's from the California Institute of the Arts, where a lot of really famous Disney animators and Pixar animators actually studied and kind of got their start. So many of them actually were trained in that classroom that they started doing this little secret nod and kind of tribute to where they learned their craft throughout the different movies. Imagineers loved the tradition. They kind of bought into it as well. So over in Toy Story Land, you can see A113 hidden on some of the blocks near Woody's lunchbox. Very cute and such a nice sweet nod, remembering your roots and where you came from. Another thing you need to keep your eyes peeled for in Disney World is remnants of the old MGM Studios. So if you don't know, Hollywood Studios was once upon a time called MGM Studios before it was kind of rebranded into the Hollywood Studios that we know today. But it does not mean that you can't still find some remnants of old MGM Studios scattered around the park. First off, you can actually find the Rocketeer's jetpack and helmet over at PV's Polar Pipeline. And then you can also find Roger Rabbit in the windows and on a big billboard outside if you're kind of near Hollywood and Vine. If you look up, he's up there, and then you can also see the cutout of him. That one's also a fun little tidbit because he was intended to be the mascot of the park, and then things just didn't end up working out. I guess the movie wasn't as successful as they had hoped at the time, despite the fact that it is a cult classic now, and so it just didn't ever pan out that he was the official mascot of the park, the same way that maybe Figment is Epcot's and Mickey Mouse is Magic Kingdom's. You can also find the dedication plaque at the front of the park if you're walking towards the Chinese Theater and you see the big statue, the bronze statue of the cameraman. If you go and look, you can actually see the MGM emblem still there on the dedication plaque for the park. So lots of little fun nods to what used to be an MGM, even though I love Hollywood Studios. I do miss you. If you find yourself over in Typhoon Lagoon, a little fun fact for you is that the flags along the entrance, the nautical flags, actually spell out Typhoon Lagoon. It actually spells out specifically Welcome to Typhoon Lagoon. If you're really curious, there's actually even a key nearby that you can read those nautical flags and figure out how it spells out welcome to Typhoon Lagoon. Fun little nods. Disney's so smart. I love when they do this kind of stuff. And if you read those little keys to help you decipher things, you're gonna notice that the other flags around the water park also have messages. For example, one says piranha in the pool, and you're gonna need to know that. Big Disney fans are already gonna know this, but you might not know every single one of them. Disney loves an homage to previous attractions. As we are finding out now, and as we have known since Disney World opened in the 1970s, everything is not permanent. There are very few things in this life that are permanent when it comes to a Disney park, and one of them is Cinderella Castle. But anytime a ride goes, almost every time, Disney likes to pay a little homage to that attraction that closes in the attraction that ends up taking its place. We can see this in several examples throughout Disney World, one of which is the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh over in Magic Kingdom. Previously, that used to be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Unfortunately, it had to close to make way for Winnie the Pooh, but if you look, eagle-eyed fans will actually see Owl and Mr. Toad. As you're going into Owl's house, you will actually see a picture of Mr. Toad handing Owl the deed, like a sweet little send-off as, you know, we're passing along the deed to the land. Over in Epcot, Guardians of the Galaxy replaced Ellen's Energy Adventure, which I was a massive fan of, and you can actually hear a lot of nods to that attraction along with a ton of other Epcot attractions that are gone throughout the queue and the ride itself. One of the Xandarians actually talk about Ellen and Alex to the faint guitar version of the old theme song from the Universe of Energy, and even the dialogue kind of sneaks in classics, like at one point Star-Lord shouts Big Bang, and then Drax shouts ding dang. So it's like little nods that maybe if you didn't know what was there before, you're not ever gonna notice it, but those are still there. In Frozen Ever After, you're actually gonna see some little puffins in the final scene. They were straight from the maelstrom. They never even had to pack up their bags and move. Plus, nearby tapestries actually feature the famous Disappear trolls, which is very cool. In Hollywood Studios, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway replaced the Great Movie Ride, which is still a painful subject that I don't like to talk about, even though I love both attractions. But you can actually see a nod to the Great Movie Ride in the attraction. When you're going through the carnival scene, Donald has his hot dogs, Mickey and Minnie are flying above you. There's actually a poster in that scene that says the Great Moving Ride, and it's people on an escalator, so a nod to that previous attraction. These are just a few examples. There's actually a lot more around Disney World, but these are some of my favorites. For big Star Wars fans, do you want to find a baby Millennium Falcon? Because there is one. If you're posing for pictures with the Millennium Falcon while you're over in Hollywood Studios, kind of take your time. Get a little bit closer, see what you can see, because there is actually a miniature version of the ride hidden underneath the big ship. Why did they do that? I'm not 100% sure, but I love it and it's fun. I could almost bet that you did not know that Epcot is color-coded. One thing to kind of keep your eyes peeled for the next time you're in the park is to check out how Epcot actually has a subtle color coding system based on each land. Once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it, but it's kind of a visual guide that helps you kind of understand where you're at and in what areas you're gonna be chilling in. World Discovery is going to be painted in little shades of red, and you can find this in examples like the trash cans, the food stands, various signage throughout the land. World Celebration is actually going to lean into a little bit more of a blue color, whereas World Nature leans into a green color, which feels obvious and makes a lot of sense. World Showcase technically is a yellow color palette. When you look on the concept map for everything and the regular park maps, it isn't as apparent as the other three lands because the World Showcase, each pavilion kind of takes on its own life and doesn't necessarily have the exact color scheming that you might find throughout the other lands, but it's still there. It's just a little bit more subtle. One of our favorite things to do at Disney is anything free. We love a free moment, we love a free experience, and this is one that you might not know about. It's one of the lesser talked about ones, and it's the Wish Book over in Magic Kingdom. If you go over to Pinocchio Village House, which is a quick service, you go inside, you see the counters where you order, you turn to the left, and you're gonna walk into the secondary room, and you're gonna see a little wish book. There's actually a stained glass window, and on it you actually see the quote from the Blue Fairy that says, "You deserve to have your wishes come true." There's a pen there so anyone can fill it out, put your name in the book, and write down your wishes. It's really, really sweet. It's something that a lot of people still don't know about, even though we love to talk about free experiences. This one still flies under the radar. We think it deserves a little bit more love, and it's kind of a fun way to kind of put yourself into Disney World. You never have to go home as long as your wishes are written down in the book. Speaking of never going home, there are actually some people who will never leave Epcot. I hope, ever, thanks to their legacy wall. So Epcot has something called the Leave a Legacy wall. Here guests can immortalize themselves in an engraved tiny little photo that you can see, and it's part of Epcot's history with an asterisk, forever. We'd like to say forever, but you never know what's gonna happen in these parks at this point. This was actually something Disney did a long time ago during a previous Epcot revamp and a big celebration. When they redid Epcot several years ago, I think most of us can remember Walcott, they actually moved these walls, and so now they are outside of the park. You can still go check them out. It's a lot of fun to go see them. There's actually some famous celebrities on it. Ariana Grande's on it, NSYNC is on it, the Jonas Brothers are on it. It's a lot of fun. You can't necessarily go add to it anymore, but it's really fun to go check out and see who's still there. I actually have a friend who's on the wall. So just fun little stuff, and hopefully it sticks around forever. Now that we've wrapped up lore and hidden details, we're gonna start talking about those quiet spots that maybe you haven't noticed before. The first one is gonna be the Tree of Life garden. If you've ever been to Animal Kingdom, I would bet that you noticed that big tree in the middle. The Tree of Life, that one, it's kind of iconic. Most guests are taking their pictures in front of it and then they're running to the next attraction or wherever they want to eat, or they're going to Nomad Lounge, which we highly recommend. But if you didn't know, there's actually a secret path that takes you even closer to the tree than just those faraway pictures that you typically see. This is a quiet little path. It's filled with lush greenery. You can see a lot more of those incredible hand-carved animals up close, and there's actually a few you've probably never seen unless you walk along the garden path. This is a great spot for pictures. It's a great way to kind of separate yourself from the big crowds if you get overwhelmed, and it's also just going to be a nice little place to stroll that maybe not everybody is experiencing. Plus, you can actually get a lot closer to some animal enclosures than you might previously have thought. Personally, we like to go and take a nice pause moment at Creature Comforts, which is the Starbucks, and then head right out the door and walk through the garden. It's a nice way to start your morning. It's a nice afternoon activity, and you can even walk underneath the tree if that's something you're interested in without going to see the show that will be there soonish. This one, if you are a big AllEars fan, I struggled to get it out because it's making me giggle. You have heard us talk about this. In fact, there's an entire video in this secret hidden train room. If you love Disney history, if you're a big fan of Walt Disney himself, you absolutely should head over to the Wilderness Lodge. So Wilderness Lodge is incredible for so many reasons. It feels like a step outside of the Disney parks. It has some amazing food that is very underrated, and it's just a really gorgeous place to hang out. But if you did not know, there in the Boulder Ridge Villas, which is the DVC section of the hotel, there is a room called the Carolwood Pacific Room. This room is dedicated to Walt Disney's lifelong fascination and love of trains, which you can actually see throughout all of the parks because they all have their lovely trains. But this room in particular has the miniature railway that Walt actually built for his backyard, his personal little mini railroad, just hanging out with a lot of other personal photos and cool memorabilia in that room. Inside, you're gonna just find a lot of those original trains, train-inspired decor, and little nods to the Carolwood Pacific Railroad sprinkled throughout it. Now, Pinocchio's Village House might not have some of the best food, but it's somehow made its way onto our big breakdown list of these hidden places twice, because we are going to talk about some of the best seating in Fantasyland, and it is at Pinocchio's Village House. This is one that you maybe are not going to this quick service for the Italian delicacies, because it's not some of our favorite food in the park, but we actually do recommend going just to sit there. If you didn't know, they actually have a second level of seating. So there's the ground floor, you can go upstairs, and there's a second level of seating that has like a balcony style seating, and it has tables and chairs, and you can just look over and gaze out onto the gorgeousness of Fantasyland. It is so quiet. It's almost always open. People really don't know that it's there. You don't even have to necessarily go into the restaurant if you want to check it out. go like you're walking into the restaurant and then turn to the right. You'll see a nice staircase. You can go up that way. You can also go up once you're inside, but it's just so beautiful and a lot of people don't end up there. Another place that we love to sit and hang out in Pinocchio Village House is right along the back wall, because it's not really a wall, it's a big section of windows that looks into It's a Small World. You can see the boats going by. It's really fun. It feels very special. And a lot of times they'll actually have signs that you can kind of wave around, and they'll say things like sing, let it go, clap, boo, all these like silly little things that then they get to interact with you and you get to interact with them. And it's not something that every single Disney World guest gets to do. So huge fun. That one though, it is a little bit harder to snag a table, but if you're able to snag a table and you can't find the signs, not a problem. Just go ask a cast member and they'll make sure you can get in on all the fun. Do you know you could get a haircut in Disney World? You can. A lot of people do this. It's actually right on Main Street, USA. The Harmony Barbershop is where you're gonna go if you are looking for a little bit of a trim, if you're looking for a very first haircut experience. They have really cool stuff here. They actually have an entire package called the My First Haircut package, where you get your first little trim, you actually get a certificate, you get some Mickey ears and a little bit of pixie dust, because who doesn't think that that's the coolest way to celebrate that milestone? What's really nice about this spot as well is it is open to any age. So unlike Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which does have a cutoff, even adult men can go get their hair cut or get their beards trimmed. Not everything is hidden. Some things are limited time and they're really more about being in the right place at the right time. One of those examples, kind of two, is the water art that you can check out in the clap boxes. So these are actually really famous Disney things, but you may not have ever seen them even if you know about them, because they don't happen constantly and it really just depends on if you happen to stumble upon it. The first is the clap boxes. This is one of the most fun things that they do at Disney World. The cast members really get to have a great time with this one, and it's when a lot of times they either make a box or they tape down a little box, and anytime someone steps through it or jumps in it or even just has a little bit of a toe in it, they get to clap for you. They go crazy. It is so fun to watch parents who maybe are uncomfortable doing it, but their kids want them to do it. It's fun to watch kids do it. I love doing it. It makes you feel good. The cast members get in on it, and it's just a fun little thing that you're not gonna see all the time because it's a little bit more rare than you might think. The next one on this same wave is the water art around Disney World. The janitorial cast members actually do this, and it is so incredible. You've probably seen it, at the very least you've seen it online, because it's something that people love watching cast members do. It's when they are able to take their brooms, they get them a little bit wet on the end, and then they just draw different Disney characters. Sometimes it's really unique characters that maybe you're not seeing all the time. Stitch is a little bit more rare, or sometimes it's just a classic Mickey. This is so cool because they are few and far between and they're fleeting. Once that water dries, the art is gone, but we love to stop and check it out. Every time we see one of the cast members building one or drawing one, we like to just stand and watch because it's so impressive. It's like a lovely little detail that you're not always gonna check out in the parks, and it feels like the park is coming to life and everyone's having fun, even if they're technically at work. Another one of my favorite blink and you'll miss it things are character paloozas. I love a character palooza. These are not happening in every single park, although they can. Most of the time you're actually going to see them specifically in Epcot, although we have seen them in Hollywood Studios and even sometimes in Magic Kingdom. Mainly you're gonna keep your eyes peeled for this one in Epcot. So what is a character palooza? Basically it's anytime a big group of characters are all together, kind of in a more hidden spot. Maybe not everyone is gonna notice it as you're strolling past, and you just get to go and to hang out and take pictures with them. This is where you're going to see a lot of those rare characters. I've met Bolt at one of these. I love Bolt, but he is not the most current Disney character, I would say. I've met Princess Tiana and Naveen with little to no wait. I saw Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon. A lot of the times you'll see characters like the Penguin from Mary Poppins, or even Rafiki, Pinocchio. These are a lot that are a little bit more common. I've even seen Mickey, and what's so cool about these character paloozas is they're really not planned. They're more at random, at least as far as guests are aware, and so the lines really aren't super long. If you are in Epcot and you're really trying to make sure that you're really keeping your eyes peeled, there's 3 spots that we most often see character paloozas at. The most popular one is going to be to the left of Regal Eagle Barbecue in the America Pavilion. Another is going to be by the International Gateway. And then finally, the behind Figment, so towards the Figment bathrooms for Journey into the Imagination with Figment, you're gonna see it there occasionally. Again, it's not something that happens all the time. Sometimes you'll even see it between Canada and the UK Pavilion. So keep your eyes peeled. You never know who you're gonna meet. The only time I've ever met Jack and Sally from A Nightmare Before Christmas was during a character palooza as they were practicing to get ready for things like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I don't wanna wait 4 hours to meet Jack and Sally, but you know what? I did just get to walk up easily and meet Jack and Sally. So keep your eyes peeled. You never know who you're gonna find there. Finally, the right place, right time thing that we're gonna talk about is one that is near and dear to my heart, and it's the Frontierland hoedown. This one is so much fun. It's one of the most interactive things you can do in Disney World if you happen to catch it. It is not daily, although it does happen more frequently than you might realize. So the Frontierland hoedown is when all of a sudden cast members will the music will start playing, and then all of a sudden they're gonna start a hoedown. Different characters like to come out for it. Clarabelle Cow always comes out for it. Horace always comes out for it. Typically, I'm saying always. Traditionally, those characters always are outside hoedowning with you. Big Al, Wendell, they like to get involved a lot of the times. And then the cast members actually, after they start doing their hoedown and line dancing, will start to bring the guests in with you. It is so much fun. I've gotten to participate in one several times. It is not a daily thing, but it is a heck of a time if you want to have a little fun moment and something that is so special. Not frequent, but keep your eyes peeled because you could literally be line dancing with Clarabelle Cow. What else can you ask for? And they play Rocky Top, so go Vols. Let's talk about the food and merchandise you may never have seen in Disney World, because despite how much there is, you still may not have seen it all. Did you know you can actually get Dole Whip at the resorts? And I'm not talking about at the Polynesian, that one's a little bit more famous. There's actually 2, kind of 3 resorts you might not know that you can actually go get Dole Whip at. So the first is Swan and Dolphin. You actually don't even have to have a park ticket to get this iconic treat. The Swan and Dolphin is one that you're going to head over to Fuel, and they have rotating flavors. Oftentimes they will have that iconic pineapple that is so delicious, and it's self-serve, so you can get as much or as little as you want, which is kind of nice compared to how much they give you in the parks. Sometimes that's more than you want, and sometimes it's not enough. Also over at Disney's Coronado Springs, if you head to the quick service there, the El Mercado de Coronado, you can actually find some Dole Whip there as well. So don't worry about that park ticket. Don't buy a park ticket just to get your Dole Whip fix. We have several locations that you can do that in. There's also a lot of personalized merchandise that you can find at Disney World. And I'm not just talking about ears and ornaments, girl. No. If you head over into Epcot, this is one of the coolest things that I think you can find in all of Disney World. You can actually head into the France Pavilion where you can get a personalized perfume bottle. How fancy is that? At Plume et Palais, I'm sure I butchered that and I'm so sorry, you can actually have a Christian Dior perfume bottle engraved with whatever you would like. They have a lot of different designs. Cinderella's carriage, you can add your name to it. Not only is it really a great souvenir, it's also something that's really practical, so it kind of justifies your purchase a little bit more. It's nice, it's fancy, and it's something that you can use well after you leave Disney World. So even though I love my personalized ears, they really just sit at the top of my bookshelf and I don't use them every day. But that perfume, you could use every day. The last one in our food and merch category is maybe not so lesser known, but I'm still gonna call it a hidden gem, and it's the Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Revue. This one is over at Disney's Fort Wilderness. It is a must-see hidden gem. It is the longest running dinner show in the United States. Not Disney World, the United States. It serves up a lot of really good comfort classics like fried chicken, ribs, mashed potatoes, incredible sides. You can also get alcoholic beverages at this table service, which is a lot of fun. It has a lot of singing, dancing, comedy, and a select few guests will actually get to be a part of the show. I have been chosen, Quincy has been chosen, I think even Fry has been chosen at one point. I'm pretty sure, but I know at least me and Quincy have, and it is so much fun. It's so silly, and honestly it makes it extra special because it's probably something that not a lot of people are doing. You do have to go a little bit out of your way for it, but you get the opportunity to be a part of it. More people should be talking about Hoop-Dee-Doo. I think it's one of my favorite things in Disney World, and I think you should do it at least once in your life. Now there's a lot of cool things that you can do in Disney. We're talking about them right now, but what about those lesser known activities? Maybe not things that you necessarily are keeping as a souvenir, but things that you want to do, experiences you want to have. Do you know you could go surfing in Disney World? Yeah. If you think of Disney and you don't automatically think of surfing, that's okay, but you should and you can, because over at Disney's Typhoon Lagoon you can actually go and get surf lessons, which I think is so funny. They are 3-hour-long sessions. They include 100 waves. It's a lot of waves to shred, and it's actually broken up into sets of 25. You can practice, you can improve. If you want a more personalized experience, not necessarily a class experience, they do have private surf sessions as well, and you can even choose the direction of the waves. Me, a non-surfer, didn't know that was a thing that mattered. So that's very neat. Both the open and the private surf lessons are actually offered in the morning from 6:30 a.m. until 9:30, and then again in the evenings, 30 minutes after the park closes, and it lasts again for about 3 hours. It is not a cheap experience. I'm actually gonna read you the prices right now because it's fun. It's a Disney excursion in a way. So the open surf, in the morning, it's gonna cost you $270 per person. In the evenings, Sunday through Thursday, it's gonna be $295. And on Friday and Saturday evenings, it's gonna be $335. So that's the open sessions. For the private sessions, which you can invite up to 15 guests to join you, in the morning, it's gonna cost $1,450. That does include tax though. In the evenings, Sunday through Thursdays, it's gonna be $1,550, but you can actually pay for extra waves. If the 100 waves is not enough for you, you can get 125 waves for an additional $300, or 150 waves for an additional $650. In the evenings, Fridays and Saturdays, you can pay a whopping $1,750. This says per person, surely not, that says per person for the evenings. On Fridays and Saturday evenings, you can pay a whopping $1,750 for that private session. And for 25 additional waves, you can pay an additional $400, or to get 150 waves total, you can pay an additional $750. Because who hasn't wanted to pay several $1,000s for a private surfing experience in Disney World? I know it's a dream of mine now that I discovered this 2 minutes ago. Now, to balance out that pricey experience that you can find in Disney, one that maybe you don't know about, but you should if you've been watching the Everything series, is the Ducktales World Showcase Adventure Scavenger Hunt. This is one of my favorite things in Disney World. I'm not even joking. I love to do this. This is located over in Epcot in the World Showcase, and it's actually free, totally free. You just have to have the Play Disney Parks app. It follows in the footsteps of Kim Possible and Phineas and Ferb, some really wonderful Disney Channel shows where you kind of get to go around. It features Scrooge McDuck and his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, as you get to go through different pavilions and explore and bring aspects of the pavilion to life. So for example, you can play in Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Japan, France, and the UK, and you get to solve puzzles with the boys, and they even have some mischievous villains along the way. This is so much fun. I loved the Kim Possible one as a kid. I would make my parents do it constantly to the point where they didn't want to do it anymore. Phineas and Ferb, it was Agent P's adventure. It was so much fun, and I'm still obsessed with it to this day. It's totally free. Grab a drink. You can do it. Your kids can do it. Whoever. It's a great time. Highly recommend. And again, free. There are also going to be some photo opportunities. Some hidden gems, some things maybe you haven't seen, but you should see them because these are really cool. First off, you can get a Tower of Terror photo shoot. Stick with me. If you're looking for a next level Disney experience, this is going to be one. This is one of those capture your moment sessions that are more private, sessions for amazing photos with Disney World photographers. It's completely private and it can be booked in every single park, and you can celebrate different things. I've seen a lot of people do baby announcements. I've seen a lot of graduation photo shoots, engagements, pregnancies. There's a lot of really fun different ways that you can capture your moment in Disney World. One of the most unique and special ones is you can actually go inside the Tower of Terror in Hollywood Studios. Fans will actually get to pose inside the iconic Hollywood Tower Hotel. You're gonna get to get close to details that maybe you've never seen before. And you know what? There might be a cobweb or two in your future. Now, the sessions are not free. Each session is about 20 minutes. It's gonna cost about $100 plus tax. You can book back-to-back sessions if you want them to be a little bit longer, if you want extra time for that perfect shot. But just remember, you do need a park ticket and a reservation to get into Hollywood Studios. Although not everyone's gonna need a reservation. That's really just for those mainly annual pass holders. Another really fun secret, and honestly, I was gonna take back the word secret, but I'm leaving the word secret way to take amazing, super fun photos or get really fun souvenirs is through the Disney World photo booth. This is super, super fun. A lot of people are not doing them. They seem to be skipping them around the parks, which is why I'm bringing it up here. It's just a standard photo booth, but they add a really fun level to pictures that you're gonna take in Disney World. They come with different like frames and different details and designs that you can choose, and you can even link them to your photo pass, so that way if you want a digital version, you can have that as well. Totally overlooked, such a fun hidden gem. RIP Dino Land, but some of my favorite photos ever was the day after my husband and I got married. We went to Disney, because of course we did, and we have these really fun, sweet photos from the Dino Land photo booth that are just, we don't really print photos anymore. Everyone stopped printing photos, so this is a really fun way to keep some printed photos and a fun, inexpensive souvenir, so I highly recommend it. Finally, we're gonna wrap up with a few special experiences that you can expect to find in Disney World if you know when and where to look. One of the most special experiences that unfortunately feels way too rare at this point is the Kiss Goodnight in Magic Kingdom. The Kiss Goodnight is when typically the hub and Cinderella's castle kind of glitter and have a moment where they announce to the park, everything is closed, Magic Kingdom is officially closed. This is our Kiss Goodnight. Thank you so much for being here and we hope you have a wonderful time. It's one of those things that does not happen nightly. It is really rare at this point, although Disney Parks Panel has confirmed in 2025 it still does happen occasionally. We've not seen it in a hot minute, but it's one of those things that it feels like the perfect cherry on top of a Disney World trip. I have so many times in my life had the privilege to sit with my Main Street ice cream, my Plaza ice cream, and just sit and watch it. It's only a few minutes. It's not a long experience. And honestly, it feels similar to watching the Eiffel Tower glitter at night. Disney, you should bring it back and do it nightly. This is my formal request and petition. This next special moment is something that is exclusive to one resort, and you might not be prepared for it, but did you know that there's actually a golf cart parade that takes place in Disney World? Over at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, they actually do something called the Golf Cart Parade. This is actually something that happens several times throughout the year. It's on different holidays like the 4th of July, Christmas, Halloween, and it's when guests there decorate their golf carts. They go all out. We're gonna obviously showing you footage here. It is crazy. People go all out for these parades. They really go wild doing the most elaborate designs on their golf cart. But there is a catch. This is exclusive to Fort Wilderness guests only. Only people staying there or people who have a dining reservation at Disney's Fort Wilderness can go over and check out the parade, making it one of arguably Disney World's most exclusive parades, which is why it's getting a big shout out here. Finally, we have the flag retreat ceremony, which is one of the most special things that you can find in Disney World, and luckily this one is on the daily. So every single afternoon in Magic Kingdom, it's a sight to behold. It happens around 5 p.m. every day. They start doing the flag retreat ceremony. It takes place in Town Square, and during the event, the American flag, the one that is an actual American flag, fun fact, not every one of them on Main Street is technically real, but the real American flag is lowered every single day. and the Main Street Philharmonic actually plays live music while it's happening. A guest veteran is actually honored that day. They choose them in the park, and they get to help lead the ceremony, which includes the Pledge of Allegiance, the Star-Spangled Banner, and even a short little walk parade down Main Street, USA. It is really, really special. It's a sight to behold, and it's clearly so special for the families of the people who get to participate as well. Highly recommend it. It is not a long ceremony. Very, very cool and very traditional thing that Disney still continues to do. If you have made it this far, you now know all of my favorite Disney World things that I think maybe you had never seen before. And there, I would bet, was at least one thing on this list that was new to you. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I love to gab. We love to talk. Our entire team does videos like this almost every single day of the week where we talk about Disney World and the world beyond. If you made it this far, make sure you drop that secret code in the comments and subscribe for even more tips, secrets, and games. Why? Because we're serious about fun. Bye.